In closing, allow me to get this off my chest one more time. I delved deeply into the Kyrie situation in last week's podcast, you may remember. I qualified or maybe disqualified myself by acknowledging I am married to a Jewish woman, and I do belong to a predominantly Jewish golf club here in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. Even though I do still attend a Methodist church in Los Angeles. My point is, and was, Kyrie cannot wait until he's been suspended and until he's about to lose his Nike shoe deal before he finally issues a written apology and then just get rubber stamped to immediately be reinstated to obviously play for the Brooklyn Nets. That's what LeBron tweeted should happen. He apologized, let him play. That's what Kevin Durant said from the start. Just let it go. That's what my debate partner Shannon Sharp said on air should happen. He apologized, it's over, prompting a heated discussion with me. Again, my point was that link that Kyrie posted and endorsed and promoted is to a movie based on a book filled with dangerous Jewish hate. This was no apologize and move on kind of post. Hate crimes against Jewish people in this country are on the rise. Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, has been sponsoring TV ads that say, stand up to Jewish hate. This no big deal link, quote unquote, that Kyrie posted came on the heels of Kanye tweeting that he was about to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Not DEFCON, but death, D-E-A-T-H, DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Obviously, Kanye, or Ye, suffered a backlash that he should have suffered, a corporate America backlash. And it certainly appeared that Kyrie was having Ye's back, supporting him by promoting a movie that backs up why black people should despise Jewish people. The movie says that Jewish leaders have engaged in devil worship, that the Holocaust was a lie, and that the Bible is a lie perpetrated by Jews and Christians. That's all, no big deal. Again, I believe that an evil madman in Germany in the 1940s tried to exterminate the entire Jewish race. A Jewish guy I occasionally play golf with said to me last week, Kanye has 31.8 million followers on Twitter. There are only 14 million of us in the world. So he has us outnumbered, and that scares me to death, said the guy I occasionally play golf with. That same guy said to me a couple of days ago, I think we're the only minority in the world that's treated like a majority. He just may have a point. There are only 7 million Jewish people in the United States. But I guess the perception is that they're so rich and so powerful that they're somehow protected against any persecution and hate crimes. Yet you should see what I see when I drive past synagogues and Jewish schools here in LA. I see lots of armed guards outside. I guess that's what bothers me the most about all this, is the insensitivity shown by LeBron and then by Kevin Durant, who said from the start he just wished the Nets just ignored this and moved on. And finally, the insensitivity shown in a shockingly anti-Semitic monologue delivered on Saturday Night Live by Dave Chappelle. I come from a broken home. I was pretty much raised by a black woman in Oklahoma City named Katie Bell Henderson, who was far more of a mother and a teacher to me than my real mother ever was. When it comes to having compassion for the horrors and the atrocities that black people have suffered for centuries in this country, I ache with compassion. When I was a kid, I used to wonder why Katie Bell from Alabama by way of Chicago was always so quick to laugh at what life threw at us. What a great laugh she had. And I later realized it was because she had suffered so much that it was the only way she had learned to cope. She just laughed back at it. And I miss that laugh. My late great mother-in-law, Evelyn Jacobs, was definitely white, and she was very Jewish, but she was never, ever remotely rich. She grew up very poor in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, fearing to use her real last name, Jacobs, for fear that she would not get jobs. To me, just me, there is no winning, that there is no point in even trying to rank the suffering of black people and Jewish people and indigenous people, also known as Native Americans and formerly known as American Indians. I did grow up in what used to be called Indian Territory, state of Oklahoma, which was the end of the Trail of Tears, in which hundreds of thousands of people, native people in this country, were forcibly uprooted from their homes and forced to march, or in many cases death march, all the way to Oklahoma. This country pretty much declared war on the people who originally occupied this land. This country and its armies killed hundreds of thousands of those people. So how do you rank that? You can't. You shouldn't even try. Which brings me to Dave Chappelle. I have always admired his genius and his courage. Such a gift. But he lost me in his Saturday Night Live monologue, which frankly did Kyrie no favors, as Kyrie attempts to get reinstated. So Dave Chappelle opened with, and I will read what he said, quote, "Before I start tonight, I just wanted to read a brief statement that I prepared. I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms, and I stand with my friends in the Jewish community. And that, Kanye, is how you buy yourself some time," said Dave Chappelle to open his monologue on Saturday Night Live. Oh, so that's the secret, is to issue a quote-unquote sincere apology that isn't sincere at all. I suspect that's exactly what Kyrie did. On Kyrie, in that monologue, Dave Chappelle said this: "Kyrie was slow to apologize, and then the list of demands to get back in their good graces got longer and longer, and this is where, I draw the line. I know that Jewish people have been through terrible things all over the world, but you can't blame that on black Americans. You just can't. Because Kyrie Irving's black ass was nowhere near the Holocaust. In fact, he's not even certain it existed," said Dave Chappelle in his monologue on Saturday Night Live. Look, I know Dave Chappelle is a stand-up comic known for speaking the hilariously harsh truth. But this is where free speech becomes hate speech. This is why the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League tweeted that it was quote-unquote disturbing for NBC, and I continue to quote, not just to normalize, but to popularize anti-Semitism. Why does our trauma trigger applause? Asked the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League. Now, I don't know. Maybe because the black audience is so much bigger than the Jewish audience? It's estimated that, I don't know, there are around 50 million black people in America to, as I said before, around 7 million Jewish people. But what really angered and just flat out dumbfounded me about Chappelle's statement was his contention that Kyrie in particular and black people in general are the real victims here. That you can't blame what Jewish people went through in the Holocaust on black people. Say what? That is just so out of bounds wrong, Dave Chappelle. I'm pretty sure nobody is blaming the persecution Jewish people have suffered for centuries the world over on black people. Nobody. I am virtually sure no Jewish people have ever blamed black people for what they've been through as Jewish people. I don't think that's ever happened before, but I could be wrong. So Kanye stated that he was going death, D-E-A-T-H con, DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Kyrie then posted a link to a movie spilling over with Jewish hate and condemnation that certainly could encourage hate crimes against Jewish people, thanks to an endorsement from Kyrie. And now Kyrie is being required to undergo some sensitivity training, an educational process involving meeting with some Jewish leaders, starting, of course, with the commissioner of the NBA, who is Jewish. Just me? I think that's completely warranted and fair. Kyrie's original suspension was for at least 5 games. And I said, just make it 10, just to drive home the point that this is unacceptable. Yet Chappelle concludes that Kyrie's black ass was nowhere near the Holocaust. In fact, he's not even sure it existed. That, for Dave Chappelle, is a damning statement for Kyrie Irving that will not help his case with the NBA. This is why it sure sounds like Nike has cut or is about to cut all ties with Kyrie Irving. Nike isn't buying Kyrie's written apology any more than Dave Chappelle is. No, LeBron, we can't just move on from this. No, Kevin Durant, we can't just ignore this and hope it all goes away. This is serious, dangerous business. I certainly do not want to see Kyrie canceled from the NBA. I miss him in his rare talent. But the point must be made. I'll leave you with this, just hypothetically. What if some big white star in sports or entertainment posted a link to a movie that just spewed inward racism, claimed that black leaders down through history had worshiped the devil, that much of slavery was actually an exaggeration, even an out-and-out lie in some cases? What if that big white star had posted something like that? What would happen to that big white star? I believe he'd be ruined, finished, canceled, as he should be. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just too white. Maybe I just don't get it. I hope you enjoyed that video. You ready for more? Make sure you click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from the Skip Bayless Show. And don't forget to check out the full episode of the show wherever you get your podcasts by clicking the link in the description.